Hello and welcome to another video for Most Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that is incredibly old and very rare, but very, very cool. We are looking at the 1927 release of the Felix Annual, which is the adventures of the Film Cat, and is all based on Felix the Cat from the black and white short films that he starred in. And don't forget, back in the day, these were silent movies. They weren't talkers back in then. So Felix the Cat was created in 1919 by a couple called Pat Sullivan and Otto Mesmer, and it was during the silent film era. So Felix was a black cat with white eyes and a black body and a giant grin, and I think for some time he was considered to be the most recognisable cartoon character in history, until later on when Mickey Mouse obviously come in and took over from Felix the Cat. And that was obviously because they were then into talkies and colour, and Disney had the distribution and everything to obviously promote Mickey Mouse. But this was way before Mickey Mouse was even thought of. Felix the Cat was making these black and white silent movies from 1919. He did also have a comic strip for a while. The comic strip ran, I think, or began in 1923 and ran for a while. And this particular annual that we're looking at today is all based on the comic strips that appeared back in the 1920s. Okay, so this is the magazine, the annual in front of us. I'm really excited about this, actually. I can't wait to get inside it. So it's called the Felix Annual, and it says Adventures of the Film Cat, and there is an image of the one and only Felix the Cat on the front of a checkered board. Okay, let's just have a look at what's on the back. Okay, so on the back of the book, you've got a little advert for Ovaltine. So it says, little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, the healthiest child to be seen. This rosy-cheeked girlie, each day late and early, has a cupful of Ovaltine. There we are. It says Ovaltine, tonic food beverage, builds up brain, nerve and body. Ovaltine is a delicious food beverage containing the concentrated nerve and bodybuilding elements extracted from ripe barley, malt, rich, creamy milk and fresh eggs. Sold in tins at 1 and 6, 2 and 6 and 4 and 6. There we go. I don't think you can quite advertise that like that anymore, but there we are. That's how it was back in the early 1920s. And there's nothing on the spline there. It's just a plain red spline. Okay, let's open the annual up and let's have a look on the inside. Okay, so I've opened the book up, and there you can see at the very beginning, there's Felix running off with an old man's roast chicken on a plate there. He's nicked it and he's running off, and he's being chased by the man with a stick. Pretty much how Felix appeared in the silent movies. Okay, so I just want to show you this because this, I think, is quite incredible. So I've opened the next page, and it says, it's got an address up there of someone who had the book back in the 1920s, who lived in Cheltenham. And there's a dedication on the page here. It says, to Leslie, with love from Daddy and Mummy, and it's Christmas 1926. So there we go, which is 98 years ago. Can you believe it? And this book has survived the test of time. So here we go. There's Felix in a circus. It said the old farmer got up and then fell backwards right in the drum. Felix Annual, picture stories of the famous film Cat. Printed for the Daily Sketch and Sunday Herald Limited, 200 Grey Inn Road, London, WC1, by Hazel Watson and Vinery Limited, London and Aylesbury. So I think all of the comic strips that are in this annual have all appeared in either the Daily Sketch or the Sunday Herald. So there's quite a lot of different stories. So you've got Felix becomes a circus star. Poor Felix takes root. Felix makes a beeline for a feast. By hook or by crook. So they're all 2-page black and white comic strips, just exactly as they would have appeared on the movie. However, you've got speech bubbles, whereas on silent movies, you just went to another page with the speech marks on them. Felix works a trick with a brick. Felix gets good net results. Felix discovers the missing link. And Felix back. And there's a nice colour drawing of Felix riding a donkey. It says the mule jumped the gate in fine style. And the other side of that one is a winner. So Felix back's a winner is that story. Felix solves the howling problem. Felix has a good blowout. How Felix raised the wind. Felix gets the bird. Felix is not bone lazy. We beg to get it together. Felix does the hat trick. That's too much overhead expense, says Felix. Felix loses the hump. I missed one there. Felix stars in a light comedy. And Felix cheats the laundry. Now, these ones are in monocolour, which was quite popular back in the day because it was cheap. So they're black and white with one colour overlay, and this one is a red colour. So Felix wins on a foul. Rolling boots gather no fish. I think I might have turned 2 pages there, but never mind. Felix has a tidal brain wave. Felix drops in lucky. Felix has a thin time. And then we're back onto the plain black and white ones, which is Felix drops a few points. More than one silly ass. Felix misses the milk. Felix heads the weights. And there's loads and loads of stories. I don't really want to take up too much time by running through them all, but Felix and he did. Felix sees the town ringing. Felix in fairyland. Felix a giant killer. Felix fails, and there's another nice colour picture there. I'll soon make myself cosy, chuckle Felix. That has started to come loose, this page, so I'll be very careful with it. And it's still Felix fails to go nap. We've got Felix has a hot time. Felix has an alarming time. Letting the cat out of the bag. And it's like someone started to try and colour these in, which you could do in actual fact because they're black and white, so they're available to colour. Poetic justice. Felix gets the bird. Hot work on the ice. Felix gets the sack. Oh yeah, and there is some that have been coloured in. Felix takes the cake, and there's another colour picture of Felix. Felix hopped out again to tantalise him. Felix in some good head work. Felix behind the scene. Felix learns him. Felix leads a cat and dog life. Felix a peacemaker. Felix in a fishy story. Felix takes extreme measures. And that brings us to the sad end. New towels next year. There we go. And there's the same image at the back of the annual as was in the front of the annual. Okay. There we have a very, very old, very rare and very collectible annual. To say it was released in 1926 for the 1927 year. I'm just going to zoom in on it a little bit better for you so you can just have a little bit better at the image. Well, I mean, I can't be sure how well they did, but it was bound to be one of the first annuals that was produced. Obviously, Felix was a comic strip character and a silent film character. These strips, like I say, I'm pretty certain they came from the newspapers that we mentioned at the start, and they were just reprinted for the annual. It'd be an absolute guess to tell you how these annuals did, because I've got absolutely no idea. I've no idea of how many were produced, and no idea of how many were sold, or no idea of what the price would have been back in 1926. Would they have been expensive? Would they have been cheap? I've got no idea. The only thing I can tell you is these particular annuals nowadays, we're moving forward now 98 years, they very rarely, if ever, come up on the platforms. And if they do, they're not usually on there for long, because they are certainly very, very much collectors' annuals. So yeah, they don't come up very often. Another thing you obviously need to be careful of, something this old, you've got to be careful of the condition. The one we have here is in good condition, I would say, but there are some loose pages. There's no tears or anything. There is some wear on the boards of the front and back cover, but generally it's in a pretty decent condition for something that's nearly 100 years old. So I have seen one or two, not this particular year, but later ones than this, on the platforms that have been in very, very poor condition, but are still demanding quite high money. But we at Midas Touch have this one available. We only have the one, but it is currently available on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage annuals and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that, there's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website, and there will be something for everybody. And I am absolutely positive that this is something you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful old Felix Annual with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.